Is perfect the enemy of good? Today on the Landlord Coach Daily show.
5, 4, 3, 2, 1, 0, ignition, liftoff.
Hey everybody, welcome to the Landlord Coach Daily show. My name is Mark Dolfini, your host and coach of the Landlord Coach Daily show, host of the show. Whatever I just said. Anyway, nice to see you. Thanks for joining me today. So today we're going to be talking about, is perfection the enemy of good? I had a coaching session earlier today, which was a really, really good session with somebody that reminded me of a situation that I had way, way back when I was just getting started, and I was becoming much more intentional about the infrastructure that I was putting in place in my business. And it was funny how in the early days, I really didn't get too hung up on making sure the stuff was perfect. I wanted it right, but I wanted it right enough. I didn't want perfection to be the enemy of good, right? Well, then I got kind of in this rut of making sure things were absolutely perfect before I rolled things out. And what I was finding, at least in my own case, that I was almost finding reasons to sabotage my success, almost finding reasons to delay sending things out or doing things because it wasn't absolutely perfect. And if anybody has ever flipped a house, you probably know what I'm talking about, where there's always something more that you could do to the house. There's always that next thing that you wish you could do. I really wish I should have built a deck on the back, spend an extra $15,000 and get, raise the asking price by $16,000, right? That extra, 2 months offline would have been really worth that extra thousand. It's just nonsensical stuff like that. So is perfection the enemy of good? I'm just going to tell you right now, yeah, I believe it is. I believe perfection, when we're seeking perfection, it's the enemy of good. You have to be okay with sometimes things are just good enough. And one of the things that I noticed that, and I see this a lot of times in wholesalers. I see this a lot of time where right now one of the people that's in my course, he's going to be sending out a lot of letters to get offline deals, right? You can't worry about the letter being perfect. You just need the letter to be good enough. And I have several students doing that right now, and they're just sending the letters out. And the letters, they just need to be authentic. They just need to get that person, letting them know that you are there to solve the problem. So, is the letter could it be tweaked? Could it always be better? Absolutely. I write a lot of my own sales copy, and it's partly because I enjoy it, but at some time the painting has to be done, right? I need to put the brush down and quit messing with it, because there's always something that you can tweak. There's always something that you can mess with. Maybe mess with using a different color, a slightly different hue, or move this verbiage over there. Done is the new perfect. And that's something that I've learned over time, that not letting perfection getting in the way of something that is good enough, that will solve the problem and get it out in front of somebody else. So there's lots of different cliches that you can line up with something like this, but not letting perfection be the enemy of good. So, and one of the things that I that I reference this in terms of bringing this into more context in terms of the either the landlord space, or even if you're just a small business owner, is worrying about, well, I'm not ready for that level of infrastructure yet. I'm not ready to turn over my phone calls to someone else. I'm not ready to let someone else handle things, for me. I've only got one rental property or whatever else it is. And to a degree, like, you have to make sure that you're leveraging your time properly, and sometimes you are going to have to do work that is slightly below your pay grade. But your sole purpose is to fire yourself from that job as quickly as possible. So as soon as you can fire yourself from that job, the sooner you can do that, the more you can spend time doing other things that are highly worth your time. So, hey, Paul, it's good to see you. Thanks for joining me today from Las Vegas. Um, So that's one of the things that I strongly suggest is looking at the things that you can be letting go of. Right, exactly. Control freak. I prefer control enthusiast. Right, but getting rid of those things that you don't necessarily need to be doing. Like again, you do not need to be. Your phone system shouldn't look like something like that. Your phone system should look, something that's offline, something that someone else is handling the calls, and you're not messing with that stuff. So these are the sorts of things that you need to start thinking of. It's like, well, how do I turn things over? I don't even know. If they start asking questions about, all these different topics, they're not going to know. No, don't. All you need to do is go from step 0 to step 1. Get someone else to answer the phone. Think about, in terms of your lease. A lease that's out there and signed is better than, I mean, ideally, one that's at least been reviewed by an attorney, but I'd rather have a signed lease than letting someone go month to month into the winter months, especially if you're in the northern parts of the United States. I don't want to have a vacancy in the winter months. That really concerns me. And if they move out in the middle of December, that property likely will sit vacant for several months until things warm up. No one wants to move while there's snow on the ground and they're under duress, right? So in these particular cases, I would rather have something that's out and adjust it later. Get it down and then get it right. In terms of, if you're a small business working on an SOP or an employee handbook, get it down and then get it right. These are the sorts of things that I like, and that's the pretense that I've always operated under. Now, some of you, again, you like, no way, I don't want to make mistakes. I really don't feel comfortable with that. And there's certain things that do need to be right before they do go out. But in terms of operational stuff, there's lots of room for error that you can take back, you can move, you can tweak, especially as it comes to things like phone calls, especially as it comes back to having someone else review your emails, having someone else review and do the things that are not the highest and best use of your time. Because I promise you, every single aspect of your business is not exactly what you're best at. There's things that you're better at, and there's things that are a higher and best use of your time, and there's other things that are way better off for someone else to do. Just as a quick example, and we're going to wrap this video up, is consider what your current wage is. Consider what that is, and whatever that is per hour. And I'm sure you can dial it back, even if your salary, you can dial it back for how many number of weeks that you worked. Figure out your hourly wage, and if you're doing work that's below that, then you're costing your business money, right? So if you're making 30, 40, $50 an hour and you're doing work that's $8, $9, or $10 an hour work that you could pay someone else, then you're costing yourself, $40 or $42 an hour when you're doing that work. Does that make sense? It's that opportunity cost. So you really need to make sure that you're not doing that low end work that you could be paying someone else much, much cheaper to do. So that's all I have for today. Yes, mistakes are a great teacher if you let it if you let it be. So thanks, Paul. I appreciate your input and hope things are going well in Sin City. That's all I have for today. Just really quick, I want to point out. I do have a new group that I started, and it is, I'll go ahead and put it in the notes, but it's facebook.com/groups/landlord VIP, and we're going to be doing some different stuff in there, which is different from the Landlord Coach Facebook page. So if you're interested and you are specifically a rental property person, if you're not, then maybe that group isn't for you. But if you're a rental property person and you'd like to learn some different stuff, different aspects of the VIP method and other things that I'll be teaching, not just me, but it's a discussion page. You can go in there, and it's the Landlord VIP Lounge. So it's going to be a group of people, and looking to if you're looking to get engaged and network with other people in that group, then that is a good group for you. But that's all I have. The link is in the show notes there, Paul. So if you're interested in sending that and taking a look there, that's where it'll be. All right, everybody, that's all I have for today. Let's go ahead and wrap this up. Please be sure to place a value on your free time, because if you don't, someone else will. But most important, there is no amount of money that will make time irrelevant. Have an awesome day. I will see you guys next time.